Terry Luck, Director of Communications here at Our Lady Perpetual Help Church in Glenview. And today we have another great fireside chat, a couple of wonderful guests with us today. We're going to be talking about a couple of ministries and a couple of ways to get involved in the church socially. And we're with Pat Marziani and Margie. And Pat, why don't you start first and tell us a little bit about your background here at OLPH?
Well, I've been part of the parish since 1977. Prior to that, I lived in Elmwood Park, and we were involved with St. Vincent Ferrar Church. And I was the vice president of the Women's Club, going on to be the president. And they had some really nice, inclusive events, including families. So my goal was to move to a parish that was very similar to St. Vincent's, because it was a wonderful parish community. So in seeking out, I had an appointment with Sister Carol, who was our principal, and that was it. We found a house right around the corner from the church, and everything was great. I joined the Ladies Guild immediately and was trying to see how I can incorporate some of the things from St. Vincent here. And little by little, I started with a mustacholi dinner. Now, I don't think you're really familiar with this, but to let you know, that was an undertaking because we had close to 500 to 600 people that would come. We just wanted all families to be incorporated. So a friend of mine who owns a banquet hall helped us pre-cook all the pasta, brought it over here, and we have all kinds of men and women helping in the kitchen. And we set up tables, and we did this for probably 4 to 5 years. Yeah. One year, there was a very bad snowstorm, and we were going to have to cancel. And I said, let's just try. Everything's ready. And literally, people walked to get there. And it was so much fun, and it was affordable, and it included all the family. So that was a lot of work. So after that, I'm part of a guild. I have been, but to continue on, it was my mission to try to help Sister Pauline with her needs. So what I did for about 20 years, now because it's a very Irish parish, nobody ever heard of St. Joseph's. So everybody celebrated St. Patrick's Day. Yeah. So I decided to have a St. Joseph's sweet table, and that was for a personal mission of mine. We did that for about 20 years, and it included all the guilds baking, all the local bakeries participating, giving us all their leftovers or baking for us. And sure enough, I think over the years, we must have raised about $40,000, which was, wonderful. And then, do you want me to move on to stepping out together?
Well, we'll get back to that, but it's
so
amazing.
That's kind of my background of how involved I have been. And I take pride in some of the things that we've done. And then our guild lately been involved with the blood drive. Yeah. And so, lots of good things happen.
That's amazing, all the things you've done. Well, we'll come back to you on that. But Margie, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I joined the parish in March of 2011. So I've only been in the parish about 11 years. And that was when I moved to Glenview. And I had bought a townhouse a block from Our Lady of Perpetual Help Church. And I decided to leave my parish in St. Joe's, where I was. I was living in Wilmette before I moved. And because I heard what a good choir there was at OL. And so I immediately got involved with the choir and started singing in the choir. And then from there, I met Betty Collins, who got me involved in sharing, because I knew about sharing, and I wanted to be involved. And it just seemed like every time I did something, I would meet somebody and they would get me involved in something else. And I really wanted, when I came here, I really wanted to be involved. That's why I just kind of dived right in. So I was asked to join the Women's Club, and I joined the Women's Club. And I was on a task force for welcoming, which then led me to join the engagement ministry, because I was very much into wanting people to feel welcome when they came here and wanting to be involved in the parish. And I worked on, when we started the transformation process, I worked really hard on that. I was part of the subcommittee for that. I was on the subcommittee for Renew My Church, which was a wonderful experience, getting to know some of the people from the parishes in our grouping, St. Catherine's and St. Norbert's. So I've just, I love this parish. I love the fact that we have so many ministries. I've just loved doing things and being involved in things and trying to get other people involved.
And right now you're our liturgy assistant, and you're currently in the choir and in engagement, so you have so much going on even today then.
Oh yeah, yes, and my job as liturgy assistant, yes, that I started about 6 years ago, and right now I work with Father Larry, who's the director of liturgy, and my main responsibilities as liturgy assistant are to I do the priest schedule every month, so I schedule them for all their masses, for any baptisms that they do, reconciliation. So I take care of that schedule on a monthly basis. And then I make all the sign-ups for the liturgical ministers for them to sign up, and I maintain that scheduling of them for the masses, do the daily lector schedule. I do the worship aid for Sundays for the music. And I write all the petitions and then the penitential prayer for our Sunday masses. So those are my main responsibilities.
That's a lot. And then during COVID, you had the virtual worship aids. That was really amazing to me because I'd be doing the live stream and I would see people turning their phones on to read it. Tell me about how that even came about.
Well, the worship aid was done on paper, and it had to be done on 11 by 17 paper, and then it was folded. It was a fold so there were 6 pages. And so when we started doing it online, it was just a matter of doing an online version, which I would do in PDF, I would do in InDesign, and then I would send it to you to put into the FlipSnack, which makes a flip book of it online. One of the things that I liked about doing it online was I did not have to worry about space, because when you're working with that limited amount of space on paper, I'm always moving things, trying to squeeze things in. I try to get pictures in when there's room, but doing the online, that opened up where I could do as many pages as I wanted. I could put pictures in it, so I felt like I could be a little more creative with it. Yeah. We're back to paper now, but I'm still trying very hard to get pictures in when I can. So. But I love doing the worship aid.
And again, it was just so interesting looking down from the balcony and seeing people on their phones.
I'm so glad they used it.
And this year, congratulations, you were the award winner, the Service Award recipient for the Women's Club. Tell us about that.
That was such a surprise for me. That's an award that the Women's Club gives out every year for someone who they feel has done service for the Women's Club or the parish, not just in that year, but kind of an over the years kind of thing. And people nominate, they give names to the Women's Club to consider. So when I was called, I was so honored, but I was so humbled by it. And that night itself was, I literally felt like Cinderella at the ball. I really did. It was just, I will never forget that night, just being honored in that way.
Did you have your daughters and your other family there?
And my daughters came, which was really special to me that they came. And it was just a magical night for me. Yeah. And something like I said, I'll never forget.
Well, one of the favorite things that you do that I just love is that you create a theme at Christmas and Easter. And I don't think every parish does that. How did that idea come about?
That came about through our engagement ministry. I can't remember if it was something that was talked about at our transformation meetings, but when we got together as an engagement ministry after transformation, we were talking about different things we wanted to do, and that came up. A theme. Let's have a theme during Lent and Advent. So for the first few years, we kind of brainstormed in our ministry, about different ideas and came up with the themes. The last few years, I've pretty much, I've come up with the theme and I've gone either to scripture to take it, or sometimes I've gone to the music that we sing in choir. The Lenten theme, which was by his wounds we are healed, came from Isaiah. And I usually try to find a theme that I feel will kind of unify the parish, give us kind of a focal point for that season. And then you do beautiful banners with it, because I find a picture then online to go with the theme. And the whole thing is, I just love, that's one of the things I just love to do.
Yeah, it's amazing how it pulls together the art and the readings and the music.
The music, yeah.
Yeah, and at Christmas this year we actually sourced an artist's work from Florida, so it was really kind of interesting how that came about.
That was really nice. I loved the picture when I found it online. You loved it, Father Larry loved it, and then you contacted the artist, and she was very pleased that we wanted to use it. So
it's just such a great idea, and I think people really love it when they see the theme.
I think they do. They do. So, yeah.
Well, Pat, let's come back to you. Let's talk about the Stepping Out ministry. How did that idea? It sounds like from what you said before, you just love like the starting of new things, right?
Yes, if it's something that makes sense.
Yeah.
So my husband has been sick for a very long time, just recently passed away. And he went into a home just about 3 years ago. So I went home and I thought to myself, what else? I work a lot, I put in a lot of hours, but what about the social aspect? I didn't know where I was going with that. So I started researching, and I researched Old St. Pat's. And Old St. Pat's, they have a monumental amount of activities, and this has been on their website for a very, very long time. It's nothing new to them. And then I kind of researched what kind of organizations we had here. And we had groups for divorcees, and we had groups for widow and widowers. And those are all kind of grieving groups. But, we're all in different places in our time, and there are so many people other than those groups that are not with anyone, and they're solo. So I got to thinking, I said, why can't we have an organization similar to Old St. Pat's and incorporate people who want to be active? So I talked to Father Jerry, and he thought, go for it. And I talked to my guild. I was kind of getting the opinions first before I ran with it. So the first meeting, we put it into the bulletin, and we had a meeting in the rectory, and about 12 people showed up, which surprised me. And so everybody loved the idea. So I put together our first event, which was March, a bowling event, just when COVID came. Yeah. So it was canceled, of course. So moving forward about a year and a half, I hadn't done anything with it, but other people were looking and asking about it. Okay. I thought, okay, I've got to get going on it again. Yeah. I invited everybody to my house, whoever wanted to come. And there were around 12 people that came. We asked everybody what their interest level was. And my purpose is to not just have a group of women or people over 55, but as the bulletin reads, from 21 to 121, anybody within that age group that would like to be active, who are solo, are invited. So what we did is that everybody was excited about it. So our first event was back bowling, and I think we had 21 people there. It was just great. We were on the patio. Some people bowled, but everybody was happy about getting together. Now, naturally, it seems like it's attracting a lot of women in lieu of men. We'd like to get more men in and get some of their ideas of activities that they would like to do. I'm not too good about sports events, but I listen real well. So then we had, again, because of the bulletin, people are relying on that bulletin a lot for the communication. So thank you for working with that. But we had a spa day. We had a theater where the Bee Gees were playing. And I think we had a group that we were laughing and dancing in the aisles. It was so much fun. Janice Moylan is a very strong hiker. So she is planning all the hiking and wellness events that we will have. We have a lot of ideas coming down the pipes. The Holocaust Museum, visiting churches.
Yeah.
October 2nd, we already have something going into Old St. Pat's for a Mass and going over to Mitchell's. So it's in the formation right now, and the best thing that we can do right now is ask for ideas from other people of what they want, so that not just my idea or Janice's idea. We want everybody to work with it and get involved. So our next step is to invite our local parishes.
Okay.
And that's going to be my objective in the next couple of weeks. It's people meeting people.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that it'll expand from there, and some friendships have already formed from it, which has been nice to
Okay,
hear.
so it wasn't just like one group came. You're getting all different people who never really met each other before to become a new community, right?
Exactly, and I mean, a couple of them know each other,
Sure.
and there are, I think, about 3 or 4 men on the list, and some have come to several events.
Yeah.
But in all, like, there's one of our parishioners here. She lives in a different, far away, but she's always here every weekend. And there's another person who just moved into Glenview, and her children live here. So all of a sudden, we have friendships forming that wasn't there before. But I really want to expand, because each event that we have, we might get 8 or 9 people going. We want to grow that. So again, with my husband just passing away, my focus has kind of altered a little bit, and I have to kind of refocus and kind of get my ideas across to more than just the group that we've talked to. And hopefully every week in the bulletin, whether it's a big article or a small article, if you don't have room for the large article, maybe small, so that people know that this is ongoing and not just for an event.
Yeah, right. You know, it's interesting. When we started doing these fireside chats with Father Jerry, eventually every conversation wound up talking about how whatever thing we were talking about built a small community, or that it kept growing then. So why would you both feel, I mean, you both answer, why do you think building communities within our church is important?
I think it makes, because OL is such a big parish, that I think when people come here, they can feel a little bit lost, and so I think having ministries and a smaller community to join, you know, you meet people, and you also get involved with your parish, but I think it makes a large place a little smaller, and it allows you to make friends, and I just think it's so important, because like in our engagement ministry, you know, we believe that an engaged parishioner loves their church, you know, and that love of your church makes you want to be engaged. And then I believe the more that you are engaged, the more you love your church.
Yeah.
You know, and you're meeting more people and you're expanding your interests. And like for me, it was everything that I was a part of just led me to meet more and more people, and led me to the next, you know, thing that I joined or wanted to be part of. It's just, I just think it's wonderful to be, when your parish, when you feel that your parish is a family, a parish family.
To add to that, people who have lost their loved ones, and maybe others, they're lonely.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't, it's hard to go out for dinner alone or to the show alone. And this, without their thinking, this is giving them the opportunity to do those things whether it's going to a restaurant or a play or what have you, they can now go, and they're not going to go alone. But now there's a group, and now they can attend these, so that some of that loneliness is taken away.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also like the fact that you have such a variety of activities that, I mean, going to dinner is easy, but doing other things like hiking, maybe they wouldn't even occur to do that without the ministry, right? Without stepping out.
And that's the one event that everybody is loving,
We do.
And you're right, and they're hiking with people. So it's been really good, but
Yeah.
it's going to get much better.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you guys both give it a little appeal to parishioners to come and get involved.
If you're afraid to get involved, I think, well, for me, and we ran this campaign a few years ago, each one bring one.
Yeah.
So what I do encourage is for people who are involved in things, ask other people. If you know a parishioner who is not involved but you think would like to be involved, ask them to come with you and accompany them to the meeting, because that's what our whole Each One Bring One campaign was about. Some people want to join things, but they're afraid. They're a little shy. They don't want to go alone. They don't want to walk into a big room where they don't know people. So I think, those of us who are engaged or do belong in things, I think we need to reach out. We need to reach out to those and say, come on, let's, come with me. Or if or if the person is interested in a ministry that you're not in, and you know someone in that ministry, encourage that person to ask. But I think that personal ask is so important. But I just want to say that to people who aren't involved, when you get involved, your parish means so much more to you, and there's just a whole different outlook that you have when you're
A
involved.
study was done on how much better people are in a religious atmosphere that do go to church, and how they live longer, and their whole mental life is so much better. But my appeal is, don't be afraid to reach out to me or to Janice. Our emails are in the bulletin. Come forward and try and join us, because if you have an idea, we're going to go with it. We're not going to say no. Margie might have an idea. We're going to go with it. We're never going to say no to you. And let it be your event if that's what you'd like to do, or come with us as we plan the future. But don't be afraid. And men, please join us. I promise. Get you one of you guys, meet with me, and we'll do all the sports activities you want. Tailgating, football, hockey, that'll be part of it. But we'd like to see more of you come forward.
Good, great. And could you give out your email?
Yes, my email is Marziani, that's Marziani, P-A-T. It's my last name, my first name. So marzianipat@gmail.com.
All right, great. Well, this has been a great discussion. Thanks for coming today, Margie. Appreciate it. Pat, thank you so much.
Great.
And please get involved. Again, you can see what benefits there are. And we hope to see you and your crew in the pew on Sunday.